Hello everyone, Big Seven here, back for the last video of the BBL season. Firstly, before I get into the video, I want to thank everyone that's been watching throughout the year. I wasn't really expecting to get 100 views a video, and I know it's not Mr. Beast levels or anything like that, but I appreciate the support and that people can enjoy listening to me ramble about one of the fantasy game of one of the worst T20 leagues in the world. So I appreciate your support. Thanks for watching, and I will be recording videos for next season. And the second thing I want to say is a big congratulations to Diabolical Point Andrew on winning the competition. For those that aren't aware, Andrew won the competition last year as well. And I know that BBL, there is a high degree of volatility. You need to have the right amount of luck, but you also need to be good enough to capitalize on that luck. And Andrew has done that in back-to-back seasons. And yeah, I just want to say congratulations to him. Hopefully that's me near the top of the leaderboard next year. But yeah, back-to-back winner, that's a feat that can't really be understated. Easy 50 grand for you, Andrew. Congratulations. So onto my team, and it was a pretty underwhelming finish in the end. 797 in the last round, managed to cling onto a spot in the top 1,000, and I do have higher hopes for next year. Ultimately, there were a few things that let me down. If I go into my history, I think I just started the season off too poorly. A few picks that didn't turn out well. Not starting Matt Short, Jason Sanger, that was a bit unlucky with his injury. Had Soglu in my bowlers as my bench bowler. I could have gone for Akil Hossain or Kuhneman, who were both on my radar. Didn't go for those. But I mean, you can't. You need to be close to perfect to win the competition. I wasn't this year. My cash generation wasn't anywhere near the top teams, and still I managed to fight back through the ranks throughout the year. I had a good middle stretch of the year where went from about 2,000 odd in round three, getting into the peaking at 399 at round 10. And at that point, I decided I needed to play a bit more risky because if I had have just trundled along making normal trades, then I wouldn't have been able to crack a top 100. And that's really what I decided to aim for. I wanted the socks, I wanted the Zinger voucher. And then round 11 was a bit of a turning point. Traded out Matt Short. And then round 12, I got skittish and traded him back in when I really should have just committed to the death ride. The player I sacrificed to bring him back in was Nisa, who outscored him by a couple of hundred in the last couple of weeks. So I think um, yeah, bringing Matt Short back in probably cost me about 300 points in the end. Even still, that wouldn't have been enough to bring me to a top 100. So it was a bit of a lesson to be learnt. I was pretty committed to going hard on the doubles throughout the year. And then I let off on that in week 12, and that's probably cost me a few hundred spots. But really, the difference between 500 and 1,000, I'm not really too stressed about that. I wanted to crack a top 100. I didn't manage to do that. It's back-to-back seasons where it's been disappointing. Looking back to last year, I was in a better spot to do it and was looking on track to do it until the last game of the season when Glenn Maxwell scored his 147 or whatever it was, and that relegated me out of the top 100. So that will be my aim for next year. I want a top 100 finish, probably even higher. So the team I ended up with, the trades I ended up doing, I have to go back to history, don't I? So ended up getting rid of three Perth players, obviously with the bye. Paddy Dooley only played one game. His groin issue flared up again. So that was a bit unfortunate, but a lot of people would have been in the same scenario. Tim David, another player with a double, actually didn't score that well until the last over of the last game where no one would have really expected him to bowl, and he managed to clutch up a win for the Hurricanes. And then the other player I brought in, Coulson Isle, he was just a single game week punt. I thought that the Stars would be able to give the Thunder some trouble, which they did, but Coulson Isle wasn't really able to capitalise. So the rest of the team for the week, Wade 46, McDermott 45, both had underwhelming weeks really, and but still put up scores in the 40s, which is why I've been so consistently saying load up on doubles, load up on doubles, load up on doubles, because and you do get scenarios where you've got your double players that put up two stinkers, but even if they have one average game and then take some catches, it's not really a bad thing. So other players, Matt Short, just shouldn't have brought him back in. Traded him out at round 11, so he scored 117 that week. And then if I had just gone without him, then that's about 150 over 3 weeks, 150 points. It probably was the right decision in the end. But anyway, try and move on from that. And then the bulk of the rest of my players, so David I brought in, Meredith and Alice. I was going to vice captain Alice, and I just got cold feet at the last moment. Decided to go for Meredith because it was a bit more of a pod option. I really should have just gone Alice. I know it's a bit hindsight saying that, but they're both capable bowlers. And then I guess the tiebreak between the two is that Alice is normally more prolific in the field, and Alice is also the better batsman. So I think just in general, fielding is something that I've kind of underrated throughout the tournament. And you've got guys like Bo Webster, who seems to take a couple of catches every game and take runouts, and it all adds up. So I think that comes into my consideration a bit more. Yes, I think the primary role is to pick players that score, bat near the top of the order and score runs, or bowlers that are bowling towards the death or just consistently taking wickets. But also, I think fielding needs, I think in terms of my own thinking, that fielding needs to have a bit more sway. Like if I'm rating a player out of 10, then batting probably makes up 5 out of, or 4.5. Bowling is 4.5, and then fielding is like that one extra point at the end. Whereas I've barely been considering that all year. So I think that's probably something I need to consider going forward. Rest of the team. So I've got my Heat boys that were carried over from last week, all pretty much underwhelming. Managed to make the right decision in fielding, which bit of a minor miracle in that. Coulson Isle was the punt, and Daniel Sams, he was the single game week player I carried over, and yeah, he did okay in the end. Finally had a good performance with the bat, and I think he's going to be a player that'll be a bit underpriced going into next season. So yeah, this is how I ended up. I guess I'll look at how I started as well. If I can find that. So yeah, the end obviously wasn't great. The start, so yeah, that was pretty much my starting field. I also had Jilks and Rousseau for that double, so I went the 6 Thunder players. I should have gone an extra bowler. I only had Faruqi and Sams. I definitely should have gone for probably Sandhu. I was a bit worried about if he would play one game and get dropped, but I think that's another area in general where I've been a bit skittish. Really only picking players that have rock solid job security. Whereas like if even if someone's in the side and they're 75-80% chance to hold their spot, then I do think I should be taking those risks. So yeah, that was the starting team. Sanger obviously disappointing, and then got injured. Philippi I decided to bring in instead of taking Jilk's score. And yeah, um, Hatzoglu, man. There was doubts about whether he would play. I thought that he was almost certainly going to play. I put him at like an 85-90% chance of playing that first game, and then he didn't. Really should have just gone for Akil Hussein or Kuhneman in that position. But I'm going to leave it at here for now. I'm going to make a separate video about lessons I've learnt. There's also a thread on SuperCoach scores, I'm pretty sure, that from Diabolical Point last year, basically showing his entire journey throughout that season. I only really skimmed through that because I was only really made aware of that about halfway through this season. So I only really skimmed through that, but from what I read, it was a good read. And I think it, considering he's gone back to back now, I think that would be a pretty interesting read. I'm going to put that down into the description. And yeah, that ends it from me. In terms of other fantasy sports, AFL and NRL, AFL I have been playing for a large number of years. I'll probably do, I might do team updates on that, but nothing really in depth. There are a number of really good creators, especially the go-to guys for me, the FTTV boys, George Zeno and Jay Davey. I would recommend watching them for in-depth Supercoach content. I'll also be doing NRL this year, but my knowledge in that really isn't great. I do follow the league, but not really closely, so I probably won't do videos on that. But I might do some videos for AFL. We'll see how it plays out, I guess. So yeah, that ends it from me. Thanks for watching throughout the season. I'll see you for the next season if I'm not uploading before then. And once again, congratulations to Diabolic Point. Hopefully that some of you guys that are watching also had good finishes. And yeah, once again, thanks for watching.